start from the beginning again, with the downsides of the company, why you did it, and how does this look for Star Atlas moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just summarize. I don't know
Yeah,
how much we captured there, if
yeah,
we lost anything, but nevertheless, it's fairly standard course of business. All we were doing is right sizing based on market conditions, right? So obviously, we've all been working through this bear market now for what, a year and a half plus. We had a sizable team at Star Atlas. At one point, we had 235 people. At the beginning of the year, we reduced that down to 165. As of today, if we include some of the co-creation studios, these third-party AAA game developers that we work with, we still have something like 70 to 80 people working on the product. What we've been forced to do is reprioritize, or really rather just determine what is the entire team going to focus on, as opposed to working across multiple products, multiple platforms. We had concurrent development going on with our DAO, for example. We had persistent updates on our marketplace and portal application. We had multiple versions of our browser-based game in development. We had some work going into mobile development. Of course, we still had the team working on the AAA product, the flagship open world space exploration MMO that is Star Atlas, being built in Unreal Engine 5.
which
And
is
so,
what I love the most, to be honest. And I think most of the people do, but yeah,
and so do we.
yeah.
So I think that was the biggest concern out there, is like, are you guys still building the AAA product? And what I've had to reinforce is that our entire modus operandi has been bootstrapping ourselves since the beginning. Some people were concerned that, oh, they've reduced their team, and so now they're not going to be able to build this big vision that they've outlined. But if we take it back to January of 2021, we had a white paper and a dream. You were one of the first people to pick that up.
Oh
We
yeah,
had
man.
5 people on the team, and so we've been able to grow with the market, and now we're just right sizing the company based on the current environment that we're operating in now. Again, I don't want to diminish the impact that this has had on the people that did unfortunately lose their position. But what it does for us as a company is puts us in a much stronger position financially, to ensure that we have runway ahead of us to be able to continue building and deliver on this
And
product.
leaner too, less bureaucracy, in terms of everywhere. Even sometimes you go to a community manager, you tell them do this, do that, and then there's somebody else working under that person. Sometimes it's just better to have, just one wall, right, instead of many walls before you do something and make something happen. So I see positives in this 100%.
Yes, without question. There's actually a great podcast. It was Tim Ferriss with the CEO founder of Evernote, and he just talks about the level of operational processes that need to be in place depending on the well, as you scale a company. And his perspective on this, and this might have been a paper that he read, I can't recall specifically, but it was every time you triple the size of your team, you need to effectively reestablish your communications channels and internal infrastructure to be able to handle that. Well, once again, we went from 5 people to 240 people over the course of a year and a half. And so, just to your point, the comment that you were just making is, even though I believe the team was efficient, it was productive. We were seeing the result of that productivity. It could have been better. It could have been more efficient. And that is what we're seeing right now with this smaller, more cohesive team, where, you know, we're all hopping into calls with everyone else. You don't have 30 meetings going on at the same time, all discussing different topics. Everybody has their eyes on a singular goal. And right now, that singular goal is working on a product that we're calling Sage Labs. We'll get into that, I'm sure, over the course of the interview.
Mhm.
But internally, the dynamic feels good. Runway feels good. We continue to produce revenue. That feels good. And the products that we have up and coming feel great. And maybe just one final point is that by no means are we cutting production on the Unreal Engine product. We still have a team focused on that. We're still building that. We still have target releases surrounding it. So that's the ultimate goal. But we also know how long that's going to take, despite these iterative releases in between. But it's about releasing other product in between there that drives engagement, that
Mhm.
recruits new people, new users, more people to the community, and also providing them with something that's enjoyable and rewarding to engage in along the way. That's how it was on day one, and the same is true today.
tell us a little bit more about the mobile application. This is something you talked about in Crypto Stash interview just recently, a few weeks ago. I really want to know more about that, the mobile application. Tell me more about Sage. I read about Sage. There's crafting, there's exploration in a 2D environment. This is all on chain, and there's a lot of talk right now about on chain gaming. There is a big push all around Web3 gaming and crypto in general, which is something that was the original kind of idea back in 2019, gaming on chain. But you guys are doing it. You guys are actually doing this games on chain, which is kind of like the backbone of the economy and the future of Star Atlas, right?
Yeah, there are so many benefits. Now it is incredibly complex. It's very challenging. You're working with bleeding edge technology and you're trying to orchestrate essentially gameplay mechanics, gameplay logic, and do that through a singular unified open ecosystem or protocol that is blockchain. In our case, Solana. I think probably most of your audience knows that. Um, but where we see the potential benefit is in this idea of composability, in extensibility, in co-creation, and co-development. Other people are able to tap into the programs that we deploy on chain and create their own services surrounding that. You can think of this by and large, like some immediate examples would be, say, a scholarship program or a lending program. All different types of DeFi applications can arise out of this, and that's particularly important given all of the base resources, which are the foundation of the economy in Star Atlas. There are all of these SFTs, which ultimately go into crafting processes, which ultimately go into the creation of NFTs. But Kagi, I come from a financial background, but and very familiar with capital markets. But the idea of, say, derivatives, where people are able to essentially create markets that trade based on some underlying asset, and that derivative is just a pure proxy. It's not necessarily you trading in the spot, trading in the asset itself. But this was probably came to the forefront or emerged around commodities markets, the CVOE, for example, and when farmers were producing crop that they needed to sell, well, one of the major issues that they faced is that the harvest cycle is the same for everyone, so everybody's bringing their corn or wheat to market at the exact same time, and you would have this wild volatility in pricing. And what they were able to do is effectively sell futures or forward contracts of that. So when they harvested, they already knew the price that they were getting at some point in the future. And these types of markets can start to arise surrounding Star Atlas assets as well. And people are able to trade and speculate on those as well. Now, we're not building those programs, but the key point is somebody else can build them, and it can integrate seamlessly into everything that we're building in Star Atlas. And I think that that is incredibly powerful, man. That's how you build a platform and an ecosystem, and not just a game.
Yeah, man, your vision is very economy oriented, which is one of the features that Web3 has, and people
Mhm.
still unfortunately don't understand it as a whole. Like they don't understand that this is what powers Web3. Without the economic incentives that we have here, or the possibilities of creating those economic incentives, Web3 wouldn't be that much. You know, people love doing Uniswap. People love doing all this stuff. That's what it is, right? Just trading, kind of speculating a little bit, right? So bringing that element of risk inside games is very important. And I think you understand this very well.
I think you nailed it, man. That is the key value proposition of Web3, in my opinion. So it's one, financial incentives, financial mechanics, real world value of your assets. But once again, this idea that we can effectively co-create a new universe together because of our utilization of blockchain in the way that we build the infrastructure itself is what is so powerful. And um, it's a bit of a controversial take, but I think you probably appreciate it because I see you tweet sometimes about like people who are only focused on the game, or don't care about the Web3 or don't care about blockchain. Like, well, then this isn't for you,
See you later.
right? See you
Yeah.
later, right? I mean, like there needs to be an appreciation for the technology itself. And while I do agree that the games are about the experience, about the entertainment value, if that's all you want, then just play a regular game, right? Like what we're offering is something new. It enhances the entire proposition of what's being played. It also means that a lot more people might be attracted to that product set because everybody has a different or unique motivation for engaging in that. And that could be the person that just wants to play to earn and find some way to extract value out of it. That's okay. It's okay for somebody to have that motivation in playing, especially to the extent that you have somebody who actually cares about playing the game and having fun. And I like to think of, um, eh, in a way, I would call, say, the mainstream gamer who's willing to spend money on a product, the consumer of what the extraction based mentality is focused on. People that are producing resources that need to be consumed in gameplay. And I'm going really deep here, so we can pull back at any point. But
No, go for it. Yeah.
these people that are extraction focused, what's different about Web3, what's entirely unique to Star Atlas is, well, we're not the ones, the studio is not the one sitting in the middle saying, I'm going to sell you the booster pack so that you can level up faster. We're saying, here's a marketplace and here's someone who's created the booster pack and they want to sell it to you. And all we do is match those two people together. So now you can actually satisfy both of those mentalities, those user segments, somebody who wants to extract from the game and somebody who wants convenience but also enjoys playing the game.
And everybody wins, right?
Everybody wins.
The developer wins, the buyer wins, and the seller wins. It's a yeah. I understand. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are overlooking that. There's this big emphasis on, just make the game fun and obfuscate all of the blockchain stuff, and make it as easy to onboard as possible. And again, I think that there's uh, legitimacy to some of those statements, but uh, I also think we need to appreciate that we are emerging into a new era of technology, and let's make sure that we maximize the benefits of that technology and also inform people as to why it's beneficial for them.
The UE5. Is there going to be any development anytime soon coming out? I know the focus right now is on Sage, mobile application, and we'll go a little bit more into that. But the UE5, where's that at? Should we be expecting this year anything, or should we just kind of like put our mindset on maybe next year, right?
Yeah, it's a great question. My community, our audience knows I hate sharing dates. It's very
Mm-hmm.
much a catch-22 for us because everybody wants to know when something's coming, but then that immediately becomes the goalpost that we either have to hit or miss. What I will generally share are, what our goals are as a company, and our goal is still to deliver this R2.2 product of the showroom before the end of the year. Will we hit that? I don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty between now and then, but I can tell you that the team is working feverishly to get this product out. Now, you did a video yourself of all of the new ships, the 49, 48 or 49 ships that are fully playable in showroom, and it has different experiences. You can do the flight trainer, you can do the race courses, you can do the PvE combat, you can just run around in jetpack, you can do the ground racing courses. These are all features that are already available, but what we're working on in the next release is what we would largely consider to be a complete and comprehensive gameplay loop. And it's when we release 2.2 that we have the full multiplayer support, with competitive combat ground racing. These are like hover racing courses. We're integrated with Metagravity. That was another big announcement that we made. So Metagravity is user concurrency and multiplayer server scaling technology. We demoed at Breakpoint. Actually, you have, on the video you're showing, you see the 5475. That's the number of users in this single instance running around in the showroom right now. Now, just full transparency, those are AI
Bots.
bots.
Yeah.
Yes, those are all bots, but they are network connected. So we're running through all of the tests right now to ensure that the networking layer is working and replicating. So if you were any one of those 5,475 users, you'd be seeing the same thing that everybody else in that instance would be seeing. Now,
Interesting.
this is truly groundbreaking. Like Improbable has been doing some stuff with the other side, Metaverse.
I seen.
Um, we're working with Metagravity. Again, not to disparage in any way the work that Improbable is doing, but based on the feedback that we've gotten, this spatial partitioning that Improbable uses likely has a cap somewhere around 15,000 users in a single instance. Our goal with 2.2 and working with Metagravity is to deliver 30,000 users in a single instance without sharding and without alternative servers that people need to log into. This would be world record setting. And
That's
so that's a
insane.
bit, and for us this is incredibly important because we want a persistent universe that's open world, that's seamless, that um, gives users a sense of agency. So if, for example, you and I are in the same server, you might be here in the showroom. Let's say I'm on a distant planet and I modify that planet by putting a claim stake down and start mining. Well, that replicates across, and at any point if you go visit that, you
It's
would experience
happening.
it. It's already happening,
It's
right?
happening. It's happening. So if the tree falls and you're not there, yeah, it fell.
It actually happened, and
Yeah.
there's a record of it, and there's a history of it,
Yeah.
the provenance of all of these things. But the other big part of this is we have a big stadium in this map, and the goal is to have 30,000 real people sitting in a stadium and watching these races, almost like pod racing or Mario Kart racing, is how I've described it before, with combat and with boosts and things that you can pick up along the way. Well, instead of watching somebody streaming it, you could be sitting in the stadium watching these races live take place. And alongside that, you have things like ship mastery and character progression. So you're leveling up and you're able to modify the components and upgrade components through time and find your competitive edge in these races. So um, really excited for all of those things to come online. The target is still the end of the year. Will we get there? I don't know. It's super hard to say, but that's what we're shooting for.
Well, man, I'm here to support you. You know that. I seen products like Axie go through a massive hack, massive FUD. I was even part of it, in a way, right? Like I said my piece, but I had a different perspective than a lot of people, because I was pushing for other things. But the point is that I still stuck with them. I still stuck with them because I know nothing is perfect. Nothing is perfect. And all these products are building in the wide open. Just now, Ember Sword, another MMORPG that I've been supporting since 2020. Same thing. They push their development forward. Now people don't even know when the beta is coming. So
Hmm.
most of the people are mad, whatever. I'm like, look, it takes time and it takes money to build this world. So I'm sticking with you, man. Like, look.
I mean, for us on the team, this is dream work. Like none of us can picture ourselves doing anything else. It's, you have to go through the ups and downs. You have to persevere through the worst of times to enjoy the best of times. And so, we're here for all of it. At the end of the day, we're just building, and of course, we'd love to build and release quicker than we are. We wish the whole thing was available today too. We know that's not realistic. Just like everybody wishes the full game was playable today, but that's part of the fun. You
Hmm.
kind of mentioned it. We're all building in the open, and part of the experience here is seeing that process unfold and unravel before your eyes. So it's unprecedented access to the development process. It's not pretty in some cases, but um, this is the experience. So all I recommend is enjoy it, make the most of it, because this is a special moment in time. Um,
Absolutely. This is not for everybody. It really isn't. It really isn't. This type of pain, this type of kind of ups and downs is not for everybody. It really isn't for everybody. But I enjoy the hell out of this process, and that's why I'm here. That's why I'm
yeah,
still here after 5 years being in the market and getting wrecked, and all of that. so so, anyways, let's jump back into the Sage, because obviously this
yeah,
is the focus right now. This is what you're going for in the next few days, next few weeks. I'm not really sure. It says coming soon. I see something about 1.5 million golden ticket that you can find or something. Can you tell us more about this 1.5 million golden ticket? And even on Discord, you have something like that, crafting ticket or something.
yeah. So I'm really excited about that. Let me save that just for the end of this, and just to
Mhm.
provide people with a little bit of context. I'm going to see if my screen sharing will work here as well.
Try it.
Um, I've got a few images that I want to pull up. So just for context, again, we're we have a mobile app, we have a browser-based application that's being developed. That's
Hmm.
called Sage, Star Atlas Golden Era. And then we also have the AAA product, which is currently the Showroom R 2.1.
Okay.
Uh, what we're focused on right now is a portion of that browser-based application. The reason why this is called Sage Labs is because the reality of it is Labs was our development environment. It's where we were building out all of these on-chain programs, all of this on-chain game logic, and testing it internally. And what we've decided is we're going to take that developer environment and we're going to freshen it up with game like UI, and we're going to release that to the world. Because if I think about, what is attractive to the Web3 gamer audience today, we talked about it a little bit earlier today, but the financial incentives are very powerful, and very important. People that are focused on economics and finances, and we're able to deliver a a simulation of the full economy that will persist going into the future because we have the on-chain logic available today. Now, Sage in the future is going to have its own 3D modeling. We use WebGL assets. We're building it in Play Canvas. That's um, uh, uh, the game engine. And uh, so we don't have that available yet. We're still doing a bunch of work to get the blockchain connected to that 3D environment, but we have a nice 2D environment that we're rolling out. And I'll walk you through a few of these.
Please do, please do. Take your time. Take your time. I just want to shout out the people that are here on this new platform. We always got our boy PG always coming by. Thank you for the subscription for 1 month. I appreciate it. Troy, thank you for being here. Troy, are you part of the? I think you're part of the Xenon team, which is pretty cool. You should implement Solana on your platform, and maybe we can drop NFTs later on another stream for Star Atlas. That would be really really dope. This platform is really cool because it's Web3 enabled. So in the future, we're gonna see some dope stuff happening here for sure.
Are we live again? Are we good right now? Or
Yeah, yeah, we're good. We're good right now. I
okay.
think we're good. Yeah. Let me refresh here and make sure we're good. Um, yes, we're good. We're good. All right, go ahead.
All right, so there's a lot here. I'm going to try to keep it pretty high level. The first image you're looking at doesn't appear to be much. We'll get into some more actual game UI in a moment here, but the first thing that you're doing that you would do in this is choose an account. Now, where we're starting with is integrating this whole account system. It's a hierarchical structure that allows for essentially a Web3 single sign-on process. You create an account, you create profiles, you create avatars and characters within those profiles. You can set permissions across wallets. This allows for a more seamless gameplay experience. But where this starts to get really cool in the future is this same single sign-on account system can be applied across any Web3 game, specifically on Solana at the start, but it kind of grows from there. But we've integrated the profile system. You would create the profile and or log in from here.
Okay.
Let me see if I can just, I'm just going to select different images and see if, mine was a misclick. So happens to the best of us.
Thanks for the clarification. Yeah.
Yes. So this gets us into the Sage Labs dashboard.
Okay.
Now, Sage is going to be top-down real-time strategy game. It's all focused on extraction, on crafting, on the creation of star bases, of capturing territory, of combat systems. So across Star Atlas, there are three core factions: the Oni, the Usur, and the Mud. We've talked about these a lot in
Hmm.
the past, but effectively, these are all three warring factions. And so,
Okay, this is cool.
uh,
Wait, this is cool. I think I might play this. To be honest, I just gotta join somebody, a group of people. I don't want to be the leader.
Yeah, to be clear, there's no combat in this version of the game. What this version of the game is focused on is that extraction and crafting loop, and this is where we'll get to the golden tickets. I'll talk about those a
Okay.
little bit later, but everybody has to, you need to own assets, you need to own ships, or this version again only focuses on the ships. In the future will include claim stakes for mining operations, but players will start at their central space station. That would this is the starting zone for mud, this is the starting zone for ooster, and starting zone for oni. So you start there. Now each of the dots on the map represent a solar system that you can go to, a sector, and you can travel you travel through these sectors, you can find celestial bodies that you're going to be mining from. You're extracting resources. So again, what's really cool is the coordinate system, the movement, those are also on chain. The extraction process is on chain. Every ship of the 49 models that we have available today has different metrics associated with it. Some are better at movement, some are ultimately better at fighting, some are better at mining and extraction, some can store more capacity. You can construct and compose your own fleet of ships based on this point system and find your optimal mode of operation. And it's likely that you're going to want to be exploring many of these regions because each of the regions or the systems produces different types of resources. There's 9 base resources. There's something like 28 formulas and components that you can craft. But you're going out, you're collecting resources, you're bringing them back to one of these star bases, which are the yellow dots. You're depositing your resources there, and then you're using your crew members to craft in these various recipes. Let me maybe just uh, so this dashboard allows you to quickly view where you have any assets, like these blue highlights. That's where you would have assets on the map. Now, all of your ships, for example, have to go through the process of traveling from one point to another. But through this dashboard, you can jump to any of the locations where you have assets to quickly manage those.
I think I see something here because I logged in earlier to sage.staratlas.com and I see the dashboard. I'm not sure if I can spawn any spaceships right now, but let me show you. Maybe you can give me a little bit of context here because it looks like this one. I'm not sure. Let's see. Let's share screen, window.
I think you're probably looking at our previous release.
This
So
one.
this is escape velocity.
Okay.
This was a system test again. So I mean, you can spawn a ship. This was a cool little project that we ran for 7 weeks. Um,
You see, I'm
and
lost, guys. I'm lost because there's so many games, so many things. I'm sorry about this, but anyway, yeah.
so visually, this is not super attractive. We totally understand that. The objective of escape velocity was to test in isolation the movement and coordinate system. So if you were to spawn a ship right now, the ship would spawn in, and then you would be able to choose a location. And what we did with this was turn it into a bit of a scavenger hunt. So there were only 2 functions. You could move and you could scan. And as you scan those different sectors, the single squares, there was a chance of you discovering loot. So we had this extensive loot table. You could have found a tank ship, $100,000 ship was hidden somewhere on this map. And
Did
so
anybody find it or not?
nobody found the tank ship. Nobody found the tank ship. That
Oh
never
wow.
dropped. It was a full
I'm
probability
just gonna
table
leave a
behind loot.
feedback then. Oh, never mind.
We've obviously disabled the feedback at this point, but yeah, so that was escape velocity. That has since been deprecated, and now we're rolling into this labs product, Sage Labs product. I'll just share one screen here. Let's see. This is a bit of a dive in. So once you're at a starbase, these are the types of things that you can do. You can view the hangar. Um, uh, we actually already corrected the spelling error there, but I'll point it out just in case anybody sees it. HANGAR. The
You-
crafting workshop, your inventory there, details about the starbase. You can check out lore. Every one of these systems has a unique name and story.
we're back, bro. We're back.
Okay, we're back.
Sorry
Uh,
about that again. All right.
all good, man.
Yeah, yeah. So you were. I think you were in the last previous slide. Oh, that's fine. Let's go to
I
this one.
just went. I just went to a new one. So
Yeah.
the last slide again. That was an overview when you're at a starbase, and then this is an overview of being at any mineable location. So you can, obviously we just have random names in there for the moment, but you'd be able to determine which asset is available for mining, choose to mine that item, let it run. A lot of people have asked about this. Uh, Whether or not if they start a process and then say they shut down their computer, Are they still playing? Are they logged out? Do they have to be there all the time? So the really cool thing again about building on chain is Solana is your computer. Once you start a process, that continues running in the background. It doesn't matter if your computer is on or not. So, just by way of example, if you were to collect a bunch of resources, bring those all to a Starbase, and then start crafting, and you know it's going to take 12 hours for the crafting processes to complete, well, just go to sleep or go grab a drink or go get something to eat. When you come back in 12 hours, they'll all be done, right? Because they're all of these are just running directly on Solana. So that's the core loop, is this extraction crafting. But what does it mean for the players? Like, what does it mean if you craft a component? Might not mean anything for you, but there's a lot that you can do with them. Now, all of the components are going to be usable in future versions of Sage. For Starbase crafting itself, this might give you a leg up in the play to earn economy.
All right, we're back.
We're back.
This is a little bit painful, but we're getting through this. We're gonna get through this. All right.
I've been through a lot worse, man.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'm here like freaking out over this little thing, and you literally have gone through a bunch of shit. So
Yeah,
let's keep going. Yeah.
we keep going. So I'll just kind of wrap up on the.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave this one image of the dashboard as I talk through the rest. But the output that you are creating in this, which is directly correlated to the size of your fleet. So, the more ships you have, the more you're able to produce. Well, there's two systems of redemption behind this. And I guess before any of that, you can actually, every one of the items that you craft in the game, these are all tradable in the marketplace too. So it might just be your operative to go out, craft items, and sell them to other players who want to use them in these redemption recipes. So, what are the redemption recipes? Well, we've put together a loot table of $1.5 million worth of assets. Now, $300,000 worth of those assets are formulas. Now, you're not crafting ships per se, but you can take the items that you've crafted, and using an additional formula, you can redeem that for a ship. So, let's say you spend a week in the game, you're spending hours and you craft a bunch of components, you turn that in for a $300 ship or a $500 ship. That's your reward. That's effectively the play to earn. Now,
It's like a blueprint. Yeah.
it's sort of like a blueprint.
Yeah.
We're just being cautious about using that terminology because
Okay.
these are not the formulas. Like, we will have ship crafting in the future with actual blueprints, but the formulas and the recipes for those are going to be completely different than what you're doing today. This is kind of an easier way to participate in that crafting loop without at this stage of the game.
Got
The
it.
other thing we've done, though, I'm personally extremely excited by it, is this golden ticket system. Now, the golden tickets are another craftable item. It actually takes one of every craftable component, or sorry, not just one, but it requires all of the craftable components in a recipe, and you can produce this golden ticket. And then on a weekly basis, we are going to be running a raffle, a drawing, where we have $150,000 of in-game loot going out every week, and it might be something like 100 different items in that prize pool. But once again, we're going to have some very valuable items in there as well. Some $100,000 ships, some $30,000 ships.
Yo. Look, this is what we're gonna do. This is getting a little bit kind of like out of hand. So I want to apologize to everybody that's watching, everybody that is gonna watch later too. Look, internet is bad, so it is what it is. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna speed run through this because we don't want the internet to go down. And what we're gonna do is when the Sage is out, we'll go back into a call, and then you can like do an overview of Sage and how it works and all of that good stuff, and we can do one just focus on that. All right. So I have a few questions from the community. I just want to get through them real quick, and I think you can get through them pretty quick. So one of them is, how do you plan to create a steady stream of revenue without relying on token reserves? Is there any advancement in private investors? And what about listing on exchanges like OKX, Binance, Coinbase? I know for a fact that's not that easy to get tokens listed like that. So what are your thoughts all around those questions?
I'll start in the reverse, the exchange thing. Unfortunately, it's just something that we can't get involved in. We don't reach out to exchanges. We don't try to get listings. If they want to list us, they list us. If the community demand is there for a listing, they'll list us. We're focused on building the game and driving utility of the assets in the game. We don't, for regulatory reasons alone, we don't get involved with, uh, these discussions with exchanges.
Right.
Um, on the revenue, we already have a number of revenue streams that come into the company on a regular basis. There's a long road ahead of the release of different digital assets, many different asset classes within the game. Those will be sold. Our core revenue model, though, long term, what makes it ultimately sustainable is where I was talking about, we match buyers and sellers. We allow players to extract value from the game by selling a good to another player, where we do serve as an intermediary between those transactions. There's a fee that goes to us. There's a fee that goes to the DAO as well. And so you can think of that as a tax. It's a minor tax, but instead of us selling an item direct to another player, we make that opportunity available to the crafter of that item, and then we take 4% of that transaction. That can actually be reduced, by the way, too. We have the Atlas locker, we have the Polis locker. If you lock your Atlas tokens up, you get discounts all the way down to 0.85% of every transaction. This applies only to the sell side. Um, but this is how we've interwoven all of the tokenomics into the game to drive value and benefits to users depending on which elements of the ecosystem they're participating in. We also have a ton of technology that we can license out. We have enormous opportunity in things like advertising revenues going into the future as we explore the AAA immersive metaverse concept. And there's many more, but the key to understand there is this is about producing a highly productive economy in the game, high GDP with a very small taxation rate on that GDP, and that becomes recurring revenue for us.
Absolutely. So it's vital, basically, that you guys succeed. It's in your best interest for you guys to succeed, for you guys to understand, like, there needs to be volume, so they need to deliver product, and that's what they're doing. So yeah, nice.
We need a great game. We need a
Yeah,
great game that people want to play, and if people are playing, everybody's winning. Like you said, the players win, the creators win, the users win, we win, everybody wins. So it is incumbent on us to deliver a great concept that people and game that people want to play. But the rest kind of takes care of itself.
absolutely, absolutely. Any comments on private investors? I know you talked about, you exhausted some options, but I mean, for the private investors out there that might be listening or might have seen SRLS, to be honest, this is a community that has value already just by being a community, which is basically what most of these games don't even have. They have a product, but they don't have a community. I mean, the community is by far the most valuable. We have seen this, and I'll go back to Axie here. We have seen Axie release a trash game, like in terms of like how it looks or whatever, but they have a community that is logging in, right? Same thing with Star Atlas, right? I'm not saying you guys have trash, a trash product, but it's simple compared to what the future will be, which is
Sure.
UE5 and all of that, right? So, and people are logging in, people are using the product, people are trading. So most of these games do not have that. I don't know how these investors don't see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the environment has been incredibly tough, right?
Mm-hmm.
We saw what 99% reduction of capital investment in the Web3 space following, uh, really for the last year and a half, probably, but especially after the whole
Motherfucker.
FTX fiasco, right? So like everything fell off a cliff there. With that being said, it's never been my motivation to raise capital. We've bootstrapped this company from the ground up by being able to sell assets and build upon the vision. That is how I would still love to see us succeed in the future, because the reality is we have a greater degree of control of how this thing transitions to a more decentralized economy of the future, to the extent that we don't have to be accountable to an investor. Now, I still have these conversations ongoing just to make sure we're in a good place. But this was a key part of the restructure. We just bought ourselves 18 months plus of time to deliver product, to regain momentum, to get into another bull market, another positive cycle, and at the end of the day, we did sell $200 million of assets in the first year of operations. That has to be amongst the most successful companies of all time, and we'll do it again. I have confidence in that, and I have confidence in the team and confidence in the product. So I look at the investment discussion as an absolute last resort. If we need to go there,
I
we'll go
feel you,
there.
man. I feel you because then they start trying to manipulate in different ways. Not manipulate, but like kind of like take your thing in a different direction where you don't want to, and then you kind of have to kind of agree with it because money came in. It's a politics game there at that point, which is tough. It's a tough one. So I understand you.
This is again not a criticism
Hmm.
of like VCs, but their objective in making investments is to maximize the return of their investment, which means they want you to extract as much value from your user as possible. And so even things where I'm saying, a user that crafts an item is able to sell that to another player, and we're not the ones being that seller. Well, it would be very easy for them to say, no, 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 don't let that happen. You guys sell it because you'll make more money, and that means we make more money. Right. So it's not necessarily aligned with our long term philosophy of how we create a sustainable and successful product that is owned by the people.
Yeah, man. I agree. I agree with all of that. I think, look, just let this man cook, ladies and gentlemen. Let him cook. Let him cook and believe in the vision. That's what you gotta do. Sometimes you just gotta believe, bro. Sometimes you just gotta like, leave it up to the leader, which is you. You're leading the way. At the end of the day, yes, it's gonna have a lot of decentralization, but right now there's a vision, and there needs to be a leader right now, and that's you. So I'm looking forward to it. I want to see this project succeed. I don't think there's any other space exploration metaverse out there that can even compete with the vision, compete with the products that you guys are releasing. Everything is like, it looks like AAA, but then they're using assets, and it's kind of like, is this like even made from scratch? It's just so much crap out there. And then when you compare it to a Web2 game like Star Citizen, they don't have the economic incentives. They just sell spaceships, spaceships, spaceships. You can't sell your spaceships. You gotta go to eBay, and it's against TOS. That's not the future. That's just not the future. It's really not. So, I'm with you, man. I'm with you on this. So
I appreciate it, man. I am as confident as ever in what we're doing today. So I don't see any possibility of failure, and neither does the team. So it's just a matter of grinding and continuing onward. And I know that what we're building is best in class and it's revolutionary, and it's only a matter of time until this hits the market. So I'm very
per-
excited.
perfect, man. Look, next time we meet, it's gonna be on Sage, so you guys can give us an overview of the game. We can go through it. I'll probably get involved, maybe a little bit, because like I told you, man, I'm in so many different games. I'm just trying to grow the gaming ecosystem, the Web3 gaming ecosystem as a whole, and focusing on one is very hard. Then the ecosystem doesn't grow. There's not many grinders like me, unfortunately. So I have to kind of take the leadership there in many ways. Um,
Man,
guys,
you just
yeah,
reminded me of one thing. I've got to share this. Just
yeah,
being involved in so many different projects, something that will maybe captivate your interest, your attention. Alongside the release of Sage Labs, we're actually kicking off the re-release of our Star Path program. So Star Path was the referral system
okay,
that we launched in 2022, June of 2022. We have since partnered with BuddyLink, another Solana-based project, for this fully on-chain referral system, and we've put some pretty solid economics behind it. So with your referral link, every asset that they buy from our primary market, so if they're purchasing from Automata, you get 25% of that value. The
okay,
person you refer also gets 10% off of any of the primary market purchases. If they buy on the secondary market, so from another player, you get a portion, that same 25%, of the fee that goes to Automata. So 4% goes to us. You would get 25% of that, or 1%.
one
But
percent.
um, that runs for 1 year, and then you get 5% in perpetuity for anything that they purchase. So I'm really excited about the re-release of that as well. I think it's perfect timing for that to come out alongside the release of Sage Labs.
Absolutely. I guess I gotta get to the tutorials. I gotta get to know the game pretty well, so I can at least do a few tutorials on the game for sure. I've been playing some on-chain games, so I've been enjoying it. I wasn't an enjoyer on-chain games back in the day, because I was more like, I was younger, and I was focused on my Fortnite looking games or whatever and this and that. And as I grow in the space and I become more of a man, I think on-chain games just make a lot more sense to me, right?
Yeah.
They're fun. I can click around a few things, strategize a little bit, and then go on my meetings or whatever, go to the gym, and then come back and kind of manage this asset. So I see I'm enjoying it. So this is a perfect timing that you guys are releasing this, and that I'm actually enjoying on-chain games. So yeah, for sure. I'm
All right,
I'm
man.
I'm gonna go
This is
right into
perfect.
it.
I expect to see you spending hours in Sage Labs when it comes out, man.
For sure, man. I promise I will dig into Sage Lab for sure. Anyways, yo, anybody in chat, PG, you're always supporting, man. You've been supporting me from day one, man. I appreciate it. I know you support Star Atlas from day one as well. And you're one of those advocates that fights everybody on Twitter, all the fodders. So thank you for being here. Ghostpad, another content creator. You should check out Star Atlas and do some content on Star Atlas as well. And everybody that came through to this new platform, welcome. Dub Club, another content creator. Dub Club, yo, referral fees, right? Referrals,
Yeah.
bro. You gotta do content on Star Atlas. Anyways, everybody that came through, I appreciate it. Much love. I'll see you guys next video. This video will be up on YouTube as well. Maybe tomorrow or in 2 days, because it cut off, but I did record it, so I'm gonna go to the editing lab now, so I can take out the cutoffs there. But anyways, thank you, Michael, again. Much love.